welcome to July TBR, the shortest TBR in a while, because technically, none of my vlogs for July are planned TBR vlogs. So, you know, all the books are either for the podcast, book clubs, other things I just want to read, and then NetGalley. So, I believe a few of these I will probably get my computer and briefly look up the synopsis of them, because it's been a long time since I've added them to lists for reading. So I don't remember. But we'll start with the podcast books because it's the most amount. Of course, we have the one that's for August that we read the month beforehand, right? And that's Indestructible Object. This one is podcast, as in like it's about a podcast, and a throuple, and it came up when I was looking up books with thruples in them, because Stingray and I have recently got obsessed with the idea of thruples and whatnot, and so like it just makes so much more sense. So I was looking up throuple books, and there were like 2 or 3 on the list that we really liked, but this was the one that most intrigued us. So that's this one. If you like throuple books, here you go. Hilariously, the other 2 are also throuple books, but they're for actually July. The first one being The Beast, the 4th book in the Wicked Villain series. It is Beauty and the Beast, obviously, and it is Gaston, the Beast, and Belle. You know, I have not read the 3rd book yet in this series, so like I can't say for certainty if I will have known any of the characters yet, but very interesting, intriguing. And then the one after that is also for the podcast, The Sea Witch, which that one is Ursula, Ariel, and Eric. And if I remember, because I was looking at the synopsis of all of them, where she sells herself to Ursula to free Eric, kind of, because like Eric is like owned by Ursula, but like actually they're partners, and then they make her one of them, and whatnot. Also on because there's like the typical covers that I'm using here, but there's also very beautiful covers with like actual people on them and whatnot. And on that one, Ursula is a larger black woman, and we love iconic. Yeah, so those are for the podcast. Now we're gonna get into the ones where I have to start getting out my computer because it's been a while. Okay, we're gonna start with the NetGalley ones because they're the ones that I had up. So the first one for NetGalley is Ghosted, which comes out on the 25th, so I gotta read that. And after just glimpsing over the synopsis, it's a Northanger Abbey retelling. So like maybe I'll read Northanger Abbey next month. I'm very behind on like my classics and my nonfiction for the year. It's fine. But basically, it's that mixed with ghosts, obviously because of the title. Where the main character used to be really into ghosts. Her dad was really big in the paranormal, but ever since he died, I believe, she's like stopped looking into that stuff. And then the school nearby, or she goes to or something like that, is like famously haunted. And so this new person comes, and I think, wait, let me look up names. Kit, that's his name, Kit. And she is Hattie. Okay. So Kit shows up and has like a scholarship to look into the ghost stuff, and Hattie has to help him out. That's like part of the thing. That's basically it. You know, I'm really into ghost books right now. I'm like, I want to read ghost books right now, so like it seems fitting. Love how I accidentally did that to myself. The other one, it comes out on August 1st. I have a book books on NetGalley that come out in August, especially the first half of August. I think the last one is the 15th. So like, there's a good chance I'll read at least most of them in July. I want to try to get ahead on them. Be smart. But this one is The Boy You Always Wanted. What was the other book the author wrote? Was it You Reached Sam? Okay, it's taking a long time for my internet to load this, so while I wait, I'll just tell you the synopsis of The Boy You Always Wanted. Which basically, the grandfather of the main character is, sick, dying, terminal cancer, you know, good times. So, she wants to, it is not the same author. I don't know why I thought it was the same author. Am I crazy? Maybe. Oh, It's Not Here to Be Liked. That was the one this author wrote. Okay, there we go. I figured it out eventually. Which I have not read, but it's on my TBR actually. But anyways, The Boy You Always Wanted. I think the main character is trying to get her grandfather's like wishes met before he dies, all this stuff. And there's this big one, which is he wants his family name to be moved on, and generally that requires a male family member. So basically I think it's like low-key thing that happened in like in the past in Asian culture, where like if you didn't have a male family member, you would like adopt someone else to take that name and follow it on type like thing. Yeah. So her plan is to try to talk her, I think, like childhood best friend and crush Ollie into doing that for the family. But like he tries to stay out of like everyone's business. He's very standoffish. I think it's gonna be like Grumpy Sunshine, but with like also tragic stuff happening in the background. And it seems like my type of vibe, so you know, it's fine. I'm fine. And yeah, and then Buzzwordathon for that one, it's Anyway the Wind Blows, because apparently me and January thought ahead and decided to, for at least one of these, make it a book that is the last book in a series. So smart, because I am so behind on my goal on finishing series. It's fine. But basically, I'm not gonna talk much about it because it's like the third book in a series, right? The last book in a series. But I will talk about the first two. The first one, I really liked. I think I rated it like 4 stars. I had a good time. It was very unexpected. And then the second one, I did not like. Like, I understand everyone's complaints that it feels like a side quest that like could have been a novella, but it's like a full-length novel. It makes no sense based off of the first book, because like the way characters are acting in this one don't make sense with that one. And so like I'm intrigued by what happens in the third one based off of that, but also like I don't really care anymore. Like, it ruined my enjoyment of this series. Does that make sense? It was a really big letdown. But I will finish the series. I know some people don't like the author and whatnot, and I don't think I've read anything else other than comic books and graphic novels that were written by Rainbow Rowell, but like other people did the art and whatnot. So I don't really have a strong opinion when it comes to that. And then I guess I can look up the other 2 books I have to look up. The next 2 are book clubs. When I'm talking about book clubs, I will put the link for the one that I know the link of, and I will try to find the link for Lean's down below. The first one is for Princesses Book Club. Technically, neither one of them are on my TBR, which is not a normal thing I do. I normally only put book clubs, books that were already on my TBR. I mean, it's only, what was it, 1,000 books? Like, there's a good chance they are. Only then do I read them usually. Sometimes my true crime book club, I'll read the true crime ones, even if it's not on my TBR, because I don't have any true crime on my TBR in general. But these 2 were 2 that I was willing to do otherwise, for very different reasons. For Princesses, The Broken Girls by Simone St. James is mostly because I have seen the author's books around a bunch, and I've like always been intrigued but never willing to pick it up. And so like, might as well if it's for a book club, right? Sorry, the internet took a long time, so I was drinking coffee while I waited. I should put this aside. But yeah, I've never even read the synopsis of this one, which is hilarious because it takes place in Vermont. you know, good times. This one gives me a little bit of a vibe of what The Dead in the Dark was, but more realistic mystery, right? Mystery thriller. So good times. But basically, there was this boarding house where girls who no one really wanted got in trouble a lot were sent to. Some suspicious things happened. And then there's this journalist, more current day, I think that was like the 50s. And then in 2014, there's this journalist whose sister had gone there, and then was killed, or there was like something with finding her body, and there was like a boyfriend who was found guilty of the murder, but like she is suspicious of it, and then some weird benefactor buys the place up and like restores it. Also, the benefactor is anonymous. That's also a thing, which she finds suspicious. So she starts writing a story because she's a journalist. And then I assume a bunch of mystery stuff happens. It seems my vibe. Okay, I like small town. A little creepy. I like, it's giving me Cold vibes almost. If listen, the only thing right now is that. But I don't think it's gonna be a haunted book. But like, it gives me weird vibes. And like, it's a closing mystery because like only so many people could have done it, you assume, right? Only people who were there could have done it, and all this stuff. So you know, it intrigues me, and it takes place in Vermont, so might as well. The other one is for Eileen's book club, which is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, which is one. So there's been like this thing that I've been doing where when I see a book on Bookstagram or Booktube that intrigues me, I take a screenshot of it or a picture of it and have like a whole album on my phone, photos for just books that intrigue me. And then there's another one for the podcast, but this was one for like myself. Maybe it should have been a podcast one because I just saw that it's gothic and I knew it was horror, so like maybe it should have, but like too late now. But basically, since it was like one that I was already intrigued with and wanted to look more into, and then people were really excited to read it for the book club, since it was like voted in and whatnot, I was like, sure, why not? So here we are. From my understanding, it is the story of like an heiress who's like a mystery woman and a guy who really likes myths and mythology and whatnot fall in love, and she's like, hey, if we fall in love, just like and get married and do all this stuff and live happily ever after, just don't look into my past. But then her aunt starts getting sick, and so she has to go and take care of her, and like they're married, so they're like together, and while there he's like, oh, I'm gonna look into stuff, but you know, like typical gothic horror stuff happens. There's some stuff with like a missing best friend of hers, and a bunch of her secrets, and he's looking into them, and some suspicious things happen, and he has to like decide between the happy marriage he thought he had or the secrets and mystery and mythology he's always loved. And the cover looks gorgeous, and you know, fantasy gothic horror sounds like my vibe. Also, it's labeled as adult, which is good because like I don't know if I like YA horror. I say that as I rated one 5 stars this month in June, but like, you know, good times. Anyways, that's the last one, other than me dropping my sticky notes. Other than an extra one that is not for any vlog or anything. Well, it's just me being me. Technically it is for my 23 and 2023, and that is War and Peace. You know, it's like one of those books that I've always wanted to read, and I was like, one day I want to read it. Like, it's on my bucket list. That's my one thing on my bucket list. Can you tell I like books? So I managed to get my hands on the audiobook, which is like 60 hours long. But if I listen to an hour a day at 2 or 3 times speed every day, I should be able to finish it by the end of the month. If like I listen for an hour a day, I can do it, right? So that's currently my plan with that. So 1, it'll knock a buck off my 23 and 2023. But 2, it's a classic, and 3, you know, just like then I can say that I actually read it. Like, imagine it. But yeah, I think that's everything. Those are all the books, all 9 of them. yeah, that's it. So I don't know if like any of the other book clubs I'm in are gonna be books I'll be reading, or any other buddy reads I'll be doing. But that's fine. I usually record this before I know anyways. And so those are like the 9 books I know for now that I'm going to be reading in July. So yeah. Sunday instead of Saturday is the wrap up for June. Mostly because I don't think I can handle recording and editing and publishing the whole thing on Saturday. So that's fine. And then after that is the normal like Wednesday, Saturday schedule, where every Wednesday for the next month are Read With Me. So good times. And until the next time.